Okay, we're live. Go ahead and count to 10, Alex, and then we'll get started.
Alex, did you hear?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Sonic Talk. I am your host, Nuckles87, and with me today are my usual co-hosts, GX and
Hi.
Shigs.
My favorite video game mascots don't snort cocaine on Netflix.
Oh, mine do.
Are you saying you don't like Rayman, Shigs? What do you have against
I
Rayman?
don't know if I like him in this kind of form.
I've only seen pictures. It's
Maybe it's something I have to watch in context to appreciate.
appreciate the cocaine use. Yeah, that's what it's missing. It's missing that context.
I have seen roughly half of the show you're talking about so far. Blood Dragon remix
Something
or
Laserhawk.
something.
Yeah, Captain
Captain
Laserhawk, something.
Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon remix, which apparently seems to have nothing to do with the Blood Dragon.
No, it just seems like it just seems like it's a big jumble of like, let's make a weird cross-universe Ubisoft show. We have access to all the Ubisoft.
And it is weird. And they set up some major characters and then they kill them off. And I can't say I'm a huge fan of that, but there are some other interesting things about it. I don't know. It's from the Castlevania people, so it has stuff you would expect from the Castlevania people. It's also very, very, very political, which is interesting.
No, haven't you heard? Ubisoft doesn't do political.
I mean, I was obviously nonsense even when they said it, but this is just like overt. And for the record, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying it. Like, it is very, very purposeful. Like I don't know. I like that aspect of it. But regardless, we aren't here to talk about Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon remix. We're here to talk about Super Mario Wonder.
Darn.
And also, Sonic Hacking Contest. That will be our final big discussion for the night. And also some news and the Halloween IDW Sonic special. So, starting off, Super Mario Wonder. Very fun game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, considering the last few years how vanilla and plain the new Super Mario Brothers games have been really
good.
They're fine.
I disagree.
This one is such a huge breath of fresh air to me. I mean, this is probably better than Super Mario World on Super Nintendo, and that's saying something. But for me, I'm not been a huge fan of New Super Mario Brothers that much. This though, it's just extremely imaginative. To almost the point of being exhausting, because there's something new in every single level. They don't really repeat themselves too much on anything, and except for some like bonus levels, you don't really get a break. It's just super fast paced. Same time, some people might really like that. I'm a little bit in the middle, but I'm really enjoying it at the same time.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm in World 3. With the yellow water.
That's where I am right now.
Yeah. And so, like, I'm just gonna say for the record, I've never been the biggest fan of 2D Super Mario. I think I said that on here during the Superstars episode. I forget. But like, I just want to reiterate that. And so, like, 3D Mario, specifically from Galaxy onward, has always been more my jam. But this, like, is easily my favorite 2D Mario just ever. I don't really like it as much as most of the good 3D Marios. Like, I would not put it up there with Odyssey so far or Galaxy, but like, I don't know, it's still a very fun platformer. And it's very gorgeous, very nice graphics. Love the I do love its visual design. I do think New Super Mario Brothers does get an unfair rap. I think New Super Mario Brothers U is actually pretty good, especially. But like on the whole, yeah, like this does answer kind of my issues with those games. Now, like at this point, I think the only complaint I can really lodge against it is like, okay, smaller complaint that does make sense to me from a gameplay perspective is that all the characters are the same, which I find a little disappointing, but at the same time, like there is of course the cap system that like lets you essentially give a unique ability or power to the characters, and like that sort of thing I think works best with all the characters just being the same in terms of a moveset. So like as much as I would love to have Peach's glide or Luigi's like super jump, like I can already,
give any
like,
character a
do
glide.
cool stuff.
You can give any character a super jump.
At the start of the game, you just like anyone can just glide with their cap. So like it's cool. I kind of hate the loss of character individuality, but still it's cool. Like we don't really lose too much with that. My other issue is that I do find the mushroom okay. So we should discuss like the central gimmick mechanic of this, which is every level has this thing called a wonder seed, and where you touch it, and then like the level does something usually pretty crazy, like either like the level gets turned upside down, or there's a mini game, or like something happens.
You become one of the enemies, like a weird jello thing or a Goomba.
That was the last level I played, where I turned to like this giant jello thing that usually in the previous levels you jumped and they jumped with you, but now you are jumping as them, and you get like their ability to like smash through blocks and stuff. And that's pretty cool. But so my only issue with this game is that I find so far that the Wonder Seeds can be kind of inconsistent in regards to how fun they are. Like the game gives you a really good first impression, because the first two Seeds are like some of the best I've encountered in the game so far. Like the Piranha Plant Parade, where like it basically starts this musical number where the Piranha Plant starts singing stuff. And I have to go out of my way not to kill them, because that ruins the song that they're singing. Like that is really cool. And as in the second stage, and it really is just kind of one of the peak examples of this game's creativity. And a lot of the Wonder Seeds do that. And to this game's credit, like just like making this just having this like be really cool most of the time is still really, really. That is hard to do. I can only imagine like how difficult some of the stuff must have been to implement. But then like, I don't know, there's another one where you just get really tall legs, and like you have to duck to avoid enemies. And it's a funny visual, but I didn't find it to be very fun from a gameplay perspective.
I enjoyed that one.
I found it to be very annoying, especially since it's very easy to get hit, and you also lose the third hit from the power up that you have when you get
I don't know. I didn't quite find it as easy to get hit in the same way.
Yeah. But yeah, like, and some of them is just like a quick mini game, like you're just floating up through the sky or something. It's like, so it's like sometimes it's really creative, sometimes it isn't, but regardless, it is a very cool mechanic, and like something that I really hope isn't just stuck to this game, because I don't know, like I can only imagine what might be able to do with Super Mario Wonder 2. Albeit, like I said, I haven't beaten it yet, but so I don't know. Maybe they use up all their ideas, but
well, this is a game coming from the Mario 3D team, which like for
I can tell.
Yeah, it's. I will also be the defender of the new Super Mario Brothers series. I get that, yeah, it does look aesthetically like, hey, we turned the brand guide into a game. But in terms of level design, I've always felt like they were pretty solid games with a lot of great ideas in them.
This one is just the characters' expressions and everything are so much more imaginative and animated.
I'm going to be honest. I found
for a long time.
My main issue with New Super Mario Brothers, outside of you, is the level design. Not that it's ever bad. I just get kind of bored by it, especially the 3DS one. But I do think that those games just get way too bad of a rap just because they look kind of sanitized.
Well, it also has the consistent ba-ba, which people do not like. I am tolerant of it, but
I guess.
I'm not gonna be here and celebrating it or anything.
I certainly don't remember the soundtrack of those games.
Well, you know, like, hey,
well, it's pretty much the same track over and over almost.
but Super Mario Wonder, like, it does feel like a 3D. It does feel like they just made a 3D Mario game in 2D, because like there is a plot. There is like a character who is like kind of your partner through the whole thing. It's not like super deep plot, but it's more than New Super Mario Brothers ever did.
It's like Paper Mario Light.
Yeah, and like we never got this level of creativity. We never got this level of visuals. We never got this level of animation.
Well, except in 3D.
Talking in the background, it's actually not annoying somehow.
Well, yeah. My point is, we never got this in the 2D games. Like,
yeah,
I think there's more voice in this Mario game than in any previous Mario game.
Yeah, and the flowers talk, which I love. I love those flowers. Some people are shading on the flowers. No, you are wrong. Those flowers add a much needed level of character and personality to this game, and I love them, and I will never turn them off, and I hope they return, and I hope we get a racer of them in the next Mario Kart.
So
I hope that flower is constantly commenting on things.
Alex, have you played Origami King yet?
I played a little bit of it back in the days when it was new.
You should play more Origami King, because a lot of the type of Paper Mario Origami King, it's the Switch one.
Oh, wait a moment. I'm getting that mixed up with a completely different game.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the Vita game. I'm talking about Origami King, the Paper Mario game. I think you should play that.
Yeah. I don't know, like, I admit, I'm just gonna say that the 3DS one really turned me off that series.
Don't worry about it.
I've considered it.
It's also the first time there's been more voice in a Mario game than in a Sonic game.
Nobody likes the 3DS one, but I will tell you the Wii U one and the Wii one, or then the Switch one, have much of the same style of charm as, hey, these flowers in the background. It's just that they're in the form of Toad dialogue.
When I'm talking about the
Toad activity.
When I'm talking about the flowers, I'm talking about them in relation to other 2D games. For the record, I'm not saying that the 3D Mario games don't have personality, or I'm certainly not talking about the Paper Mario.
No, games. I am giving you a game suggestion. I think you should play that game. I am not saying you're wrong. I'm saying go play that game. It's a good game.
All right. I will consider it.
And it evokes that charm.
On sale for Black Friday. Okay, that does pique my interest then. But the flower. What I also love about the flowers though is that sure they'll comment on like a thing you do. They'll talk to you. They'll like comment on an enemy that they're watching. But they will also like give you hints and like gameplay tips and stuff. Like they have directed me to
I've gone past without getting the flower seed and like, I think you're missing something, so you end up wanting to go back and see what you're missing.
Yeah, and then you do, and then you find it, and then it's like, oh, thank you, and then the flower will talk to you again.
Oh, it hasn't been the flowers giving me tips in any of these games. It's been the. Have you guys turned on the multiplayer at all?
No.
Oh,
I tried it for the first time today.
You need to turn on the network connection multiplayer. It's I
think you told me that was perfect for a gamer like you.
It was absolutely fantastic for basically in the new multiplayer series, New Super Mario Brothers multiplayer series. it was always sort of an issue that characters would bump into each other, they would interact with each other, and the worst troll among them would just throw everyone into pits all the time. And
yeah.
What they have effectively done to make this work is when you
everyone a ghost, but you.
when you enter a stage, you will basically live connect to any other people playing that stage at that moment.
Wait, it's live? I thought it was like ghosts or something.
Well, yeah, it's live.
Nope, it's live.
But all the other people in it do appear as ghosts. And I don't mean like a racing game ghost. I mean that you don't interact with them. They just appear as like hollow figures. And there are different ways that you can engage with them in ways that, you know, can only really be helpful. Sometimes they'll, you know, it'll be a situation where, like, you'll just put together, like, a quick relationship with a person in so much as, hey, let's just do this stage together because when you die, I can help save you instead of having to go back to a checkpoint, or I can share items with you.
You can drop checkpoints for others so they can, if they die, they can hurry up and catch back up.
Or even things as basic as just standing around being like, I know where the secret is. I'm going to stand here and make sure you understand this is where a secret is. Come over here and take care of this.
Right.
Okay, I do have to turn that on. Although I will say that
I wish to God they would have done that for Sonic Superstars.
Although I will say that in terms of like help, I don't know. This game isn't too hard yet. I hear it gets really hard near the end, so you know we'll see.
It has a mix.
I'm not feeling driven to.
I have finished the... Well, no. Like I said, I just enjoy... It's not that I felt like I needed help. It was more just that, like, I enjoyed the sense of... It felt like a bit more sense of community in it. And that community might not last forever as the game gets older, but for the time being, it's a nice, pleasant experience, and it's really only helpful. Like, in other forms of multiplayer like this, like, if someone's not cooperative, then it could ruin the experience. But because this is a predominantly single-player game on the whole, adding multiplayer as just sort of this passive element is a really good addition. It kind of means that, like, hey, they can build these levels around them being single-player first.
Right.
Yeah, another thing I will say,
Superstars, because local co-op is just pretty much terrible.
Sonic Superstars does not feel like a game built for co-op.
It's not built for multiplayer. Period.
Yeah, and this game doesn't really feel like it's built for co-op either. Like, aside from the fact that the camera is just more pulled out, like that's about it. Everything else, it's just, you know, I do feel like there is tighter challenges here versus New Super Mario Bros. U. Which you know, does kind of pique my interest in, I don't know, trying to get some, I don't know, like I would love to play this multiplayer at some point. I'm gonna have to find someone who's willing to play Mario with me.
Just like I said, just start by turning on the network stuff. It really does add to it.
So and the Bowser Jr. bosses, I've played 2 of them so far. They're pretty good.
Yeah. Right.
Like the second one seems to just kind of iterate on the first one, but like he turns like the floor into jello or something, starts swimming through it, and I don't know. I guess that was a pretty cool gimmick. Oh yeah, and I guess he tends to be the one to like get the, I don't know. He uses like the power of the Wonder Seeds for that, but. I don't think I have too much else to say. Like, it's a very fun game. Wonder powers are cool. GX, you beat this game. You know,
I did.
Like, so long as didn't you tell us that you did?
Yeah, I did.
I swear you told us that you did.
Yeah, I said I did.
I thought you said I did. You were wondering why I said that. Okay. So like, so long as there isn't like a big twist at the end, I wouldn't mind if you just talked about it.
I mean. Honestly, much of the game is as you expect it, except more difficult, and some of the later stuff. It does repeat a few ideas as you go through, but often in, a little bit more complex ways, like, hey, you become this transformation with the Wonder Seed early on, and then later on it's like, okay, you become that again, but it has some different caveats to it, or like, it's in a different context. There's...
That sounds cool.
I've been enjoying trying to track down some of the hidden worlds, because there is a secret world that you can get to through finding hidden exits throughout the game, and
oh my,
the levels involved are pretty tough. They get pretty dang difficult, and I'm still working on trying to track down more of them. I've gotten the power-up system in this game is a little bit underwhelming. I think the elephant thing is kind of cool. I think the drill is kind of cool. The fireball and the bubble, don't do much, but it really does.
I like how the bubble acts as like a platforming thing.
It does. It's useful. Don't get me wrong. I just don't find it useful as often as I would like. The badges, though, I think really, really make up for that. There are some very wild and unusual ones. I kind of feel like, though, unfortunately, I'm starting to drift into the ones that I just like more, and it's like maybe 3 of them that I find meaningfully useful, which is unfortunate, because
I mostly just use the gliding cap so far.
The gliding cap is the first one you get, and it is useful throughout the stage. There are a couple others later on that are, we'll say, contextually useful, but there's some that, man, it was like, if this was more consistently useful throughout the game, then I would love to spend more time on this. There's one where it's like a grapple vine that you can launch out of your arm to latch onto walls and stick to walls for a little bit. There's one that acts like a single Mega Man X wall jump, where you can just do a... Yeah.
I remember I heard about the grappling... About how, Mario has a grappling hook, and then it's like, and it's useful in one level.
Yeah, it's unfortunately that's kind of the case. It feels like it's missing some sort of additional functionality that would be nice to have with it, but here we are. We'll say the challenging badges are particularly interesting. They're definitely the kind of thing where if you want to do a weird run that is harder on yourself than it ought to be, then you can definitely equip the one that makes you jump all the time, or the one that makes you run very quickly, unstoppably.
Wow.
If you just want to have a weird fun time, you can equip one of the invincible characters like Yoshi or Nabbit and give them the auto run badge and just watch them truck through unscathed.
It does kind of sound like there's like some things that like you normally only find in like hacks, like at a certain Sonic hacking contest. It's just enabled through caps here.
Like, the way I would describe it is, this feels like the Mario game that someone would make after they've played a lot of Mario Maker. Just an absolute ton of it.
And that was one of their motivations, was Mario Maker, seeing what people made with it.
Yeah, there's definitely like some design ideas that I have seen in Mario Maker that are repeated here. It feels like it doesn't feel... It feels like a willingness to give polish to something that otherwise would be a bit too out there, a bit too weird, a bit too hacked together feeling, but they somehow just still are able to make it work. It's good. It's very good.
Yes. It's
I feel sorry for Sonic with this coming out at the same dang week.
Oh, early numbers have indicated that it's not too good for Superstars. Between this and Spider-Man,
crushed in Japan.
Oh yeah, the Famitsu numbers for that one are dire, like absolutely dire.
Like, we'll have a better picture of Sonic Superstars' overall numbers like later in the more relevant markets. But yeah, Sega probably should have I don't know moved it around somewhere.
Yep, they should have done that, or I don't know. It's
But
yeah.
but regardless, Shigs, you have anything else to say about Super Mario Wonder?
Not much that anybody else has said. Like I said before, it is probably one of the best, if not the best, of the 2D Mario games. I don't know if I'd place it above Super Mario Brothers 3, but it's very, very close.
It is my favorite, and the elephant power up is very fun. So Shigs, you've gone ahead and added 2 games of yours to our notes. So tell us about Spider-Man 2 without spoiling any of the plot at all, because I don't want to hear that.
Okay.
Aside from the opening
bits. If you like Spider-Man, if you like the Spider-Man Miles Morales, you're gonna love Spider-Man 2, because that's basically more of the same, bigger, better. You got Brooklyn and Queens open up now, a very large map compared to the original, but unlike the original, they've got mini missions, but they're not bogging you down with them as much. You're not constantly hunting for backpacks, but you are checking rooftops for these other items. But it doesn't feel as cumbersome as far as having to constantly deal with that as it did before. It's mainly focused on its story, which is great because you do play as both Peter Parker and Miles Morales, and the story will constantly switch between the two of them, and each, while they're helping each other, also living their own lives. Like just early game stuff, Peter's trying to find work. He found work as a college professor for a short time, and Miles is trying to do his essay to get into college because he's 17 at this point in juncture.
I'm so happy to hear that Peter Parker's a teacher again.
But they're also having to deal with trying to fit in their lives with all the danger that happens. I mean, the first person you fight is the Sandman, and it's a giant Sandman that's Godzilla size going around the city.
Oh, that sounds cool.
You do get some extra powers and abilities as far as traversal. Traversal's even better than before, which is, I don't know how they top that, but they added glider wings under the Spider-Man costumes, which is kind of a throwback to the early 60s Steve Ditko art. He'd have webbing under his arms, just as a part of his costume. And they brought that back, but as like a what do they call it? A wing glider. When you see those people flying down the mountains with the glider suits on, it's very similar to that.
As someone who's never cared for the web armpit thing, if you're gonna bring it back, you better do something like that with it.
Yeah, that works out. There's a few more web slinging maneuvers you can do. Of course, costume. There's a ton more costumes in the game, and pretty much everything you unlocked in the original 2 games, you can unlock again along with the new ones. So, which is good because that's my main gripe is the suits. One thing I'll say that's good is that the suits are no longer have exclusive powers to them. They're just suits that just give you a look to them. But a lot of the new ones for Spider-Man 2, even though they're based off certain issues, they just look terrible. A lot of them. But on the other hand, you can also change them around. If you don't like the look, you can change the color of each costume. Each costume except for some movie exclusives from the previous movies have 4 different colors you can choose on each costume, so you can really change up appearances. So if you don't like Miles has got like a black and white suit, you can keep the same exact style but change it to all black or red and black in a certain way, which is pretty helpful. But I mean, you do have it is a sequel directly from Spider-Man 1 and Miles. If you remember at the end of Spider-Man 1, Norman Osborn was trying to cure Harry, who was in a coma, and you see that he had the symbiote. And of course, if you've seen the trailers, you know that, Venom is in this. And another big enemy in this is, what's his name? Craven.
Carnage?
Craven the Hunter.
Oh, yeah! Craven the Hunter.
He is a big a-hole in this game, and he's got he's bringing his entire group with him. There's like hundreds of other hunters you got to deal with besides Craven.
Of course, because you need.
They make him incredibly strong in this. He's a really tough baddie. And a lot of the previous villains reappear, but in ways that are surprising. Some of them are, go back as villains, and some of them are trying to change their ways and stuff. So it's kind of an interesting. It's a very interesting story, especially since we don't have Eddie Brock, but we're still getting somebody else's, Venom in this. So I won't give the any of that kind of stuff away. But hey, like I said, if you liked the first two or the first 1.5, although I did like the pacing in Miles Morales, that it was like an 8-hour game. It still felt complete while being shorter. But this one, I'd say, is going to probably end up being a little shorter than the first, but in a good way, because you'll still have some stuff to do.
Well, like
between the two characters, and there's always new game plus and stuff.
The first game does kind of suffer from being kind of willing to waste your time a bit. So
yeah, that's a lot of problem with open world games, especially like not to bring up another new game, but Assassin's Creed Mirage is another shorter game. They put it out at $49.99, and it's all story focused. Cool. And so I like that. I like a razor focus where, like a lot of open world games, they're constantly throwing little side quests at you to lengthen the game in a way that doesn't really make the game any more fun.
Well,
by the way, if anybody wants Assassin's Creed Mirage, Lee Majdoub is it? Agent Stone from Sonic 2. So in case you want to have like that Sonic connection for that one.
Yeah.
Anyway,
advertising it.
The other one I'm going to keep short because I know a lot of you won't be interested. I'm a retro gamer, so of course I want to get something like this.
I'm a retro gamer too. I'm interested.
It's I was deciding before the Portland Retro Game Center to get either Atari Game Station or the Atari 2600 Plus, which comes out later in November. The 2600 Plus is basically an Atari 2600 you can use your cartridges on, but it plays on an HDMI television and comes with more updated controllers. Well, not the same controllers actually, but it plays really well. It plays better than the Retron 77, which played before. I guess the new one can play 2600 and 7800 games.
All right, so the Atari Game Station.
Yeah, the Atari Game Station itself is just comes from My Arcade, and it's basically like an emulation box, pretty much, that plays Atari 2600, 5200, 7800, and arcade games, all from the Atari's big libraries. About 150 of those games, plus about another 50 of random. It's weird. They got bonus games, which is like random Genesis, Game Boy, and arcade games in there.
I'm guessing this is from like Atari's Tengen catalog or something.
No, it's not. They're not even Atari. The other 50 games. It's kind of weird.
Really? They're just from completely random companies.
I guess it's ones My Arcade has the rights to. They could do like
weird.
There's this one RPG that Electronic Arts put on Genesis that's in there. It's like really weird, but as an Atari fan, there are better Atari boxes out there that you can get. This one, my biggest problem is the controller it comes with. It comes with a nice Atari-style joystick and a paddle on top of the controller, but playing it in game, especially in the arcade games, does not work well. I don't know why that is, but an example was one of my favorite arcade games on there from the Atari is Food Fight. It's when you're a little boy out trying to outrun the chefs, and you can throw food at them while you're trying to get this ice cream cone thing and that. And for some reason, when you're playing it, the 7800 version, which is on there, it plays perfectly fine. But arcade one, it's just not tight at all. Same goes for Warlords, which for some reason plays fine with the paddle on the 2600, but on the arcade, it's slow to respond. So you have the
So it sounds
option
like they
of
might have some rough arcade emulation going on there.
yeah. Well, it's not the emulation; it's how they're handling the controller on the arcade ones, which is really weird. But the thing is, if you plug in, you can plug in a standard controller. You might have to get a USB-C to C adapter for that, but you can use any standard like 360 Xbox One controller, and that'll work just fine. And those work much better with the arcade games than it does with this awkward controller. I don't know why they did it the way they did. The only other advantage is it does use a micro. You can put in a micro SD card, and if you it has if emulators built in, so if you have your legally owned homebrew ROMs, you can always download those and play them off a list inside of the game without any extra work done to it.
Honestly, it kind of sounds like you might as well just get Atari 50.
Yeah, get Atari 50 on the Xbox. That's a much better deal, and you're getting a great documentary. I get this because I'm a bit of Atari collector, but that wasn't really worth it. So I paid $99 for it at Target, and it's $80 at Costco. So I don't have a Costco membership, but I was about to re-up my membership, so I should have just done that instead.
This definitely ain't on my list for that price.
No, I would not recommend it.
So, anything else to say about the Game Station?
That's about it. I mean, if you're a diehard Atari fan, maybe go for it. But other than that, I wouldn't bother with it.
Honestly, this just reminds me that I really should get Atari 50. But
Atari 50 is fantastic.
So
it really is. I mean,
yeah.
Especially it's a documentary and a game library.
So moving on to the news. First, a quick plug, because I don't really think this is anything we can discuss, but I want everyone who hears us to know about it. So there's a Sonic Satam documentary from the Sonic Satam historian now on YouTube. It's 2 hours long, and it covers basically Ben Hurst's vision for the third season of the show. It has like all this cool little still shots and stuff, and kind of goes over the sort of plot that the season was going to have, and it's very exhaustive. I hear it's very good. And you can find it on the YouTube channel Good Old Groovy Jake. And it's basically it's about, like all of Ben Hurst's efforts to try to get this thing made, which ended up being futile. So go check it out. So, first proper piece of news for us right now is Sega teamed up with Cybershell for a Fang primer. So, that was interesting.
Interesting is probably the correct word.
It had a tone that, these official Sega branded videos don't normally have, and as I understand it, Cybershell is usually fills his videos with pretty vulgar jokes, which I don't know. I'm not too familiar with him beyond like occasionally seeing him on Twitter. I know that you like wrote a whole article on it. Like I wasn't even going to cover it because it doesn't really cover anything new.
It was technically official, and thus it sort of fell under our purview for what it's worth. I like Sega was promoting this, so it's like, well, if they're promoting it, I guess it's something to report. Like, I didn't even go into it thinking that, like, oh, this is from an external person. I was thinking, we got it in a tweet, so it was like, oh, they posted this video in a tweet. This must be an official thing. It's like, well, this really isn't in the format of how they normally make stuff. It's a little odd. And then as I looked into it, it's like, no, this is posted by someone else on a different YouTube account, but was, I guess...
And it has lots of sanitized jokes that don't quite land, but beyond that, it's, pretty informative for Fang.
I guess. Like, anything you're going to get direct from, like... If anything you're going to get Sega approved is not going to be like, hey, everything that you want out of it.
No, but I do find it interesting that Sega is increasingly bringing in fans to make stuff like this.
They've been doing it quite a lot.
Like, this isn't even the first time.
No, they've been continuously doing stuff like this. I'm just, well, you figure they have their long-running comic series from various people across professional art and the fandom. Like,
yeah.
It's interesting. I don't know where they're ultimately going with it, but, you know, it's something. I don't know. That's the whole way that you can describe the whole thing. It's something.
I think Sega just sees the value in involving its fan base in more things,
or the inexpensive it. I don't know. I
kind of assumed they paid him or something.
We're gonna have somebody else do the work for them, basically.
So that was the only bit of video we got this week. This month. We also got a new Tales Tube, the first episode of season 2, Tales Tube episode 5. And as usual, the main focus of it was just covering and clarifying some canon. So, like, finally, like, after, I don't know, decades, Knuckles actually, like, acknowledged that he knew the Chaotix and they helped him out once. And he called him his boys, and that just made me very happy.
Oh, it will mean nothing. Like, we all know it will mean nothing. Like, it means nothing in the slightest.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just glad that, yes, Chaotix is canon. Knuckles knew them before Sonic Heroes. The fact that was not acknowledged at all doesn't mean anything anymore. Yay! That just made me happy.
Chaotix themselves have been canon for a long time.
Oh, yeah, they've been canon since, like, I guess, I don't know, depending on how you look at it, either Heroes or the original, I guess.
You're easily pleased, aren't you?
I'm easily pleased on some very specific things. With Sonic Heroes, like, two of my big disappointments were how Sonic reacted to Shadow being alive, and just a total non-interaction between Knuckles and the Chaotix. That just bothered me back then. I'm just happy to see that somewhat resolved a little bit. I don't know. And, like, also, I don't know, they acknowledged Mighty, but they also they also definitively just stated that Fang was a Jerboa, which, like, that seemed unclear up to this point. They were calling him the Hunter. Like, the Superstars comic did mention Wolf and Jerboa. I wasn't clear which one it is, and it's like he's now definitively a Jerboa. So,
well, I think for the longest time before they really needed to hone down on not giving everyone some sort of weird combination species, he was a Jerboa wolf, like some combination of the two.
He was a Jerboa wolf, and then he was a wolf, at least in Archie, and now he's just a full-blooded Jerboa.
It's almost
from weasel to Jerboa wolf to Jerboa.
It's almost like for most of these Sonic characters, their character design isn't in any meaningful way linked to their species.
I mean, he still looks more like a wolf to me. Oh yeah, he was also a weasel as well in America, actually. Man, when did he become a wolf? I don't know. He was a weasel in Archie. I completely forgot the weasel. But yeah, so he's been 3 different animals. But he just looks like a wolf to me, if I'm being honest. But I guess now we no longer have 2 wolf snipers.
Except for the jagged, springy tail where he bounces on.
Yeah. What were you going to say?
Don't worry about it.
Okay, I kept interrupting you.
That's fine.
All right. So, moving on. We also got an interview with Iizuka and Oshima where they did answer some fan questions. And we at least got a little bit more insight into their decisions for Superstars. For instance, one reason why they brought the Fang back was because Mighty and Ray were pretty popular when they came back in Sonic Mania, which makes me very happy. So, like, they were looking to, like, bring back more long lost obscure Sonic characters, and they picked Fang because he was one of the more popular ones.
Mm-hmm.
And they made Amy a playable character because she was also popular because they want to have a girl on the cast, which I mean, yeah. Like classic Sonic until the previous game has like 2 female characters, I think. If you want to count Honey.
Well, classic Sonic. Yeah, kinda. Like it's one of the things that IDW does very well is the vast majority of their original characters tend to lean towards being female, which absolutely does balance out the cast a bit better.
Yeah. And of course, with Superstars, we have the new characters Trip. So, so they're slowly working towards that. And is Oshima also talked about how he wanted to work with Zuka more in the future and how like their experiences on Adventure and Nikes were very memorable.
I bet he would like to be hired again.
I don't know. Oshima hasn't had any issue getting work, so.
Let's forget about that other game. That's usually Naka's thing. That's what's a me.
Which other game? You mean the bad Yoshi game as well? Look, Arzest does not have a great track record. They have some good games. I believe they have a pretty well-received Apple Arcade game, but they do not have a great track record otherwise.
Yeah.
They're very guns for hire.
Hey, just like Fang the Hunter.
Oh God, no! You've drawn the right parallel.
I do hope that this does lead to them bringing back more of the long-lost classic characters in other games. Like, certainly, I would love to see Bean and Bark return in some capacity. I would love to see Honey be something more than just some unlockable character in Sonic the Fighters. There's definitely some more things that they could do in regards to the classic cast, and hopefully they'll also let the Chaotix exist in the classic era as well. So yeah, I'm hoping that we will get to see more of that.
I would rather just have I don't know, considering Trip and her inclusion in the game, hey, if they have other characters at the degree of quality of her, then I am fine with them adding new classic characters and building out that roster of characters. Making
new
that
classic characters would also be nice. Yes.
I just don't. I don't think there's a lot of people in the classic series that I'm really itching to get in. Honey's weird because Honey's a reference to a completely different series.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. I guess she is kind of the character I'm the least interested in.
Can I?
More of a what I really want to see is I want to see more Bean. I want to see more Bark.
Character from a different series.
Well, yeah.
What would be cool what would be cool to see return is the Battlebird Armada. Well, yeah. There's a whole host of characters that I'd love to see brought back in a larger capacity.
Well, yeah, and it flows into the idea that we tend to lean to, which is Sonic needs more recurring villains.
Yes.
And that would be a decent recurring villain.
And in terms of classic Sonic, we really don't have anything that's currently being acknowledged right now. It's just Eggman.
Well, actually, Fang and Bark and Bean now. Then, if we are,
Fang and his crew, they do now count as secondary villains, albeit typically working for Eggman. So, speaking of Fang and Bean and Bark, we are getting a Fang 30th anniversary mini-series in 2 months in January.
That's wild. It's not a one-shot. It's an actual mini-series, which really
we're turning into early era Archie boys. Everyone gets their own mini-series.
This is the first long-form classic Sonic story that we're going to be getting from IDW. And the concept is interesting to me because it's dealing with the 8th Chaos Emerald from Sonic the Fighters. Fang's going to be hunting down the 8th Chaos Emerald. which obviously there's not actually going to be an 8th Chaos Emerald, but I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of twist they're going to add, especially since this is Ian Flynn.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm expecting good work from him, especially with Bean involved. I always love his Bean. But so the very first issue is he's going to be going to Sonic, asking, "Hey, have you heard of this? Where is it?" Because Sonic, I guess, is the Chaos Emerald expert. And I am just interested in seeing where this goes. I'm assuming it's going to be 4 issues because every IDW miniseries is. But I'm happy to see we're getting a miniseries like in January, because it was looking like, we usually get a miniseries between like now and January. It was looking like that wasn't happening this time, but here it is. I guess we're getting that on top of the special.
We'll get enough one shots, but one we'll talk about later. But
so like
we don't get too many miniseries.
At this rate, IDW is going to be releasing like essentially 2 Sonic comics a month for 8 months straight at least.
Oh, hey, we've been asking for our Sonic universe. It's just coming in a very unexpected way.
And like, I would much prefer a Sonic universe to some of these one shots. I will admit, even the ones I've enjoyed, because that would kind of allow them to build into the ongoing comic book narrative. So here's something that should prove useful next year. Sonic Superstars is already getting modded. Someone has gone ahead and put a Sonic Rush model into the game.
I've been periodically tracking this stuff, and there's stuff like the Sonic Rush model. Someone's put Shadow in. Someone has put Mario. Someone is working to put Mario in.
Which is good, since Sonic's already in Super Mario Wonder through that game's mods.
Yeah, most of it thus far has primarily been like slight texture mods. Like people get weird about, well, I want the Sonic that I remember to be a very slightly different shade of blue. And
good lord, yes.
People can be weird about Sonic spikes and shade color.
But like there's someone who has made, it's a bit of a work in progress, but there's a Sonic Jam Saturn era mod that you could possibly put in. People have put in stuff like, hey, here's different colors of Supersonic based on whatever color of Supersonic you want. It looks like someone has the most recent is someone slightly editing the color of the of Lego Sonic, so there's something.
I wonder how long it'll be until someone gives us Lego Super Sonic, since in the game he's just regular Sonic, Super Sonic.
I don't know. It might depend on like scripting. Like you would have to maybe change something into something else, and I don't know how prepared we are for that. Like nothing that's been dug into yet is really like script heavy stuff, which if it's going to be possible, it will probably be a little bit farther down the line. I'm optimistic since it's Unity.
Yeah, I've heard Unity's very mod friendly.
Unity does tend to be very mod friendly. I'm still holding out hope that like, hey, once we get through, I want this character, I want this character. I am still hoping like, hey, stage editing, camera editing, just stuff like that.
Well, I'm wondering if they're gonna like be messing with the bosses.
That'd be nice.
Given that's such a common complaint, I've got to imagine that's gonna be like one of the early big mods people begin working on.
Yeah, you can ultimately, like, everything I'm looking at just seems like all of my complaints about Sonic Superstars are primarily just quality of life stuff and pacing and just.
Of course, who knows? Maybe like there'll be a patch out in the next month or two, they'll fix some of these issues.
Who knows? At this point, they've been patching more than I've ever expected them to patch in certain circumstances. So maybe they will. Maybe. I don't know.
Speaking of patches,
once again, I really don't have a problem with the bosses.
I didn't have any issues with bosses until like late in Trip's playthrough. But regardless, there are other people that do, including GX. So, so speaking of patches, Sonic Origins got a new patch, like just a few days ago, I think, or a week.
It was the weirdest thing. It was the weirdest possible thing.
Came out of nowhere. It happened during one of our Sonic hacking contest streams. And like, oh yeah, but during yours, I had to start working on it to get the article done now.
Yeah.
And so apparently, Tails has been crashing the game in Labyrinth Zone every time he enters the water.
This has been a significant issue since the last major Amy patch, where it does cause basically, if you take Tails into Labyrinth and once he hits water, something causes the game to crash. So
and I had no idea until like a couple weeks ago.
Oh, as someone who is hanging out on our Discord, I am keenly aware of this particular issue.
But yeah, they patched it. As far as I know, that was like the only remaining big glitch that isn't just like people complaining about the music or something. So I don't know. Like maybe we're done now. Maybe the game is just good with all the glitches.
I hope. I would say maybe give it a week or two to actually let things shake out and see how people feel about it. I still stand by like, hey, they should not have released a patch that was going to introduce that big of a problem, and if they did, they probably should have retracted it. But also, hey, this is still my preferred way to just jump into these games whenever I want to just jump into the games.
Sonic Origins Plus is going to be the primary way I play classic Sonic games from now on, because the remaining issues, at least the ones that I'm aware of, like the music in Sonic 3, just don't bother me. Like, I think the music's fine. Apparently, some people have issues with some other aspects of Sonic 3's audio. I don't know. I don't notice. But, honestly, this Tails patch feels like something this Tails glitch feels like something they should have released like a hot patch for months ago.
We've been in this situation forever. Sega has had quality control issues for freaking ever. It just seems weird that it came in the form of a patch that broke other things.
Yeah. But in any case, I'm just glad it's fixed, and I am kind of wondering like how if we're going to be getting more patches for Origins in the future. I'm also wondering what kind of patches Superstars is going to get, because I kind of feel like maybe we'll be getting some balanced patches or something for some of the design stuff.
I have seen
always use more skins. There's not enough skins.
I have seen a couple indications that like, hey, it's not perfectly unbuggy. Like, I haven't encountered anything. There's some
There was a glitch where people where they exit the battle shop and they like end up on stage 11, then fall through the floor. That happened to
I've
Shigs.
had that happen to me twice. Like, that's a common one.
Like,
sure.
How many times have you entered the shop from the world map? From the world map?
Like a few times, like maybe 4 or 5 times, and
okay.
And like, you exit it and you just fall right up.
I've only done it that way
a
couple times. It never happened to me.
And also, like I said, I've said in the previous, episode, local multiplayer has a ton of glitches everywhere.
Oh that was where
the character will just freeze up. Those warp shortcuts can cause freezing sometimes. You'll eventually drop that you'll lose the shortcut, but yeah, that's happened a few times.
So, these were the glitches that I've encountered. One was an endless pipe glitch in Speed Jungle in the multiplayer, and the other was robots sometimes just being non-interactive and falling through the floor on the final boss of the main story, with Eggman, where he's like shooting them at you. Oh wait, no, not Eggman. Fang from Trip's story, the final boss of that. So yeah, there's certainly stuff that they can fix, but yeah. So I guess they could. I guess they could do a patch to make co-op mode more stable. Yeah. So they at least have a few things like that to patch up. Although I'm wondering what kind of they also have to release patches for any additional skins they make.
I mean, we don't exactly know where they're coming from with that quite yet.
Yeah.
We know they're if we take Frontiers as an example, also, hey, Frontiers sold very well, so there was probably more motivation to have additional content for it. We'll see how exactly that shakes out with Superstars, but I'm guessing, if anything, they might have some promotional stuff with the other companies that they have agreements with. I'm guessing that there is that rumored possible DLC for it next year. Again, we'll see if anything actually comes of that, but I would not be surprised if things are attached to that in particular. But, yeah.
So,
yeah.
So we have news on new Lego set, specifically involving Knuckles, Rouge, and Shadow. I imagine you two are excited for this.
Well, I mean,
you don't have to get those bootleg ones from the conventions anymore.
Well, we knew that. Well, okay, these were pre-existing rumors. The only difference is in this case, we've actually seen the minifigs, which, quite honestly, minifigs, they're fine. I like the actual building of things, so it's yeah, it's cool that there's minifigs, and I will definitely get use out of them.
Minifigs, all right.
But these are things. But yeah, I can take a good guess as to what the Shadow and Rouge and what was the third one? Knuckles minifigs were going to look like. Knuckles minifig we already knew it was going to look like because they put it in the dang game. So
I mean, it's more than just the minifigs. It's also the Lego sets.
Yeah, the Lego sets are what I'm more interested in, honestly.
I think I've said on here before, I'm hoping for something like Hydro City or something. I'm hoping for a level from Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
I don't think you're going to get that from these sets.
Yeah, but it's what I'm hoping for, because it's what's going to guarantee that I buy at least the Knuckles one.
I'm just a little bit... It's a little bit odd to me that the next wave that they are that has been rumored for them to announce is only going to be, I think, 2 sets and maybe a polybag.
Oh, so Rouge isn't getting her own set?
No, Rouge will be, if the rumors are accurate, Rouge will be in the same set as Knuckles, and they come with glider things or something.
I thought she'd be in the same set as Shadow at least.
I don't believe so. I think Shadow's on his own for that, with maybe a Badnik or something.
Well, you know what? Something themed after Space Colony arc might get me to buy that one.
I don't know exactly where they're going with it. I think it will have another small animal, so it might be more down to earth.
If it's all just Green Hill, then I'm just ignoring all this stuff. I'm sorry.
I have no clue what it's going to
be. But I don't know. Maybe I'm expecting too much because I guess Tails just has his workshop and Amy just has her little animal thingy. I forget what it was.
Okay, this look, this set absolutely skews younger as far as Lego goes. The age numbers on the boxes are lower, the designs are simpler. These are Lego sets aimed at younger kids, and I'm looking at this and I'm looking at the recently announced Animal Crossing sets, and I see the Sonic is more complex, but I absolutely see the parallels. Hey, they want to aim young with these, and I get it. It's not necessarily for me all the time, but also I got the Lego Ideas Sonic set, which is not aimed at a younger creator. So
So, one final piece of Sonic Superstars news, which just came in like a couple days ago, is that apparently it has a very boring debug menu that you can unlock with a button combination. And it's basically just, it gets you a level select, and it gets you a sound test. And from what I've seen, and from what I've seen of it from video, it looks kind of like that leaked Unity menu, except instead of like a list of levels, it's just like two things that you can like scroll through, a character and a level name.
So I hate to be the one to tell the internet, but most debug menus are very boring because they're profoundly utilitarian.
But the classic Sonic ones are really cool. You can like turn to items and stuff and potentially crash the game.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Navigate in 3D space? No, that's not how that works. That's not a thing. This is so that you can like debug is quite literally to actually do bug testing and like bug tracking. Like that's why you can do things like that, is because it tests how to find ways that things could interact to set up circumstances. And in this case, like, hey, maybe all they really need to do for something like that is just go to a level whenever they need to.
But perhaps more. Sorry, go on.
I was gonna say they may even have like more complex tools that they use internally. We don't know, but yeah, like it's best to keep your expectations of debug stuff fairly low, just because you can.
I want to turn to a star post. Damn it!
Well, then get modding, learn code. Dang it!
But perhaps the more relevant aspect of this then is that it also does give you a way to listen to all the music in the game cleanly, without jumping through any hoops or anything, or I don't know, hacking it or going to YouTube or whatever. So like it also does act as an in-game music menu.
Yeah, I hear people really like that music, so I'm sure many people are very happy about that.
Aside from the ones that sound like too much like Sonic 4, I guess.
No, I'm being sarcastic.
Like, yeah, I figured. So you access it by, after you beat story mode, you go to the main menu, and then on the Xbox, press XXYY XXXX, and we assume it's basically the same kind of button combination on PS5 and Switch. So, like, I don't know, knock yourself out. I put the show notes away for a second there. Okay, oh yeah, alright, so one final cool piece of news, at least for me, is that Surge the Tenric is finally coming to a Sonic game. And of course it's Sonic Forces, but,
Sonic Forces Speed Battle, the mobile game.
Yeah, Sonic Forces Speed Battle. But you know what? That's still pretty cool. We still have yet another IDW character coming to the game. She beat Starline to it, which I guess, like, I appear to be right on the plushies, GX, but you were right on the Sonic Forces, so yeah. Her render looks pretty cool. It's pretty neat seeing her done like kind of an official 3D capacity. Although technically this is a leak. This was data mined from the last Sonic Forces update. So we don't know like when exactly she's coming. We just know it's probably going to be in the next few months.
Yeah, I think we also
like November.
I think we also got like a new skin for Silver in the same data mine.
Yeah, like it's like some sort of like sci-fi knight skin.
Yeah, because everyone has to have their D&D persona in the series now.
It does kind of does kind of feel like they're running out of ideas for some of these skins, if I'm being honest.
I mean, look, they can't. They legit have got to be wrapping that game up soon. Like, I can't imagine there's that much of a pipeline left that.
They can wrap it up after they get all the major IDW characters in there. Once they've done that, I don't care.
IDW keeps making new characters. Like, when does that end?
No, like IDW tends to only make a few a year, so if they just make a concerted effort, they could probably get it done in like 6 months.
Oh my
Like
god!
all these characters play the same anyway.
What? It sounds like you're developing the next Dragon Ball fighter. It's like, well, they only put in so many. We just need to account for these characters. Like you created like 7 new characters for this last arc. What are you talking about?
All right. Like, give me.
Why don't you appreciate what they have, dang it, and then just enjoy that instead of being in the ass
before they kill the
fan.
game, I need Starline, I need Kix, I need Lanolin, and I guess the Skunks.
I need them to release a more interesting game, is what I need.
Oh, like, I don't know, they're supposed to be working on some kind of 3D, on some kind of like story-centered platformer written by Ian Flynn, so, like, I assume it's coming. I thought we were getting it this year, but no, we got Superstars instead. So, I guess, moving on from IDW. We've got the Sonic Halloween special to talk about. We'll be talking about this month's issue next month with the next issue, the second half of the story. And, all right,
I didn't want to mention that. It's kind of weird that in the main story, it kind of stopped being about what's his name, Duo, and they changed subjects on this storyline in the middle of it. It's kind of weird that they did that, but we'll discuss that at another time.
Yeah. So the Sonic Halloween special, my feelings on this are basically GX's feelings on the previous specials, which I disagreed with him then, but here, like, I'm like, this kind of just feels like a special episode featuring some Sonic characters.
Did they beach episode you again?
They held, yeah, like more or less, except I didn't really enjoy the characters in this one. They felt pretty dry and generic.
It's definitely one for kids, but I thought it was cute.
Yeah, like this feels like something that is very much for kids, because it is very much like the threat here is basically, so the Chaotix have to investigate this candy that was stolen from this child, and it turns out that, like, it's a crime spree. Someone's like luring all these children into a forest, stealing their candy, and then they run away crying. And so the Chaotix decide, yep. The Chaotix decide that Charmy decides that instead of going trick-or-treating with his Chaotix dads, he wants them to investigate the candy thief, and so they go do that.
It's nice to see Charmy doing something unselfish for a change, or being not being a bratty kid, but actually doing something.
I guess
nice.
But so like they go to the forest to investigate, and then Sonic and Tails are, they're like what, flying on the tornado to do some Halloween thing. I forget. I guess no. Only Tails is actually in a costume. Sonic is just himself. So, like, I don't know. I do kind of wonder if there's just like some sort of mandate going around.
Sonic's stalwart dedication to never be not nude.
But man, what was Tails? Was he a pirate? I gotta bring up the comic now. Apparently, but they meet up with the Chaotix in the forest, and they agree to help them. And so they go into the forest, and they come across this weird vampire child trying to con some more children, trying to leak some more children into the woods. And they chase him, and they track him down, and they find basically like a bunch of kids in like this robot costume, stealing with a hoard of candy.
One thing I was expecting Bandits, I wasn't expecting a bunch of little kids.
Yeah, that was kind of the closest thing this had to a twist. Whereas, like, I was kind of expecting Eggman to have some kind of nefarious Halloween scheme, but no, it was just a bunch of children who needed to be taught that you shouldn't steal, you should share. And it feels good to share and give in this holiday of tricking and treating. Okay, Tails was a cowboy, which is very cute. He is a very cute costume.
One thing I really didn't like is Tails' kind of characterization with this. So he's like, "Oh, this is I'm a monster," or something, where he's acting a little bit scared, and that's not really in his character anymore at this.
I mean,
it has always been in his character, and it will always be in his character, Jason. Like,
to be clear, this does take place before Sonic Frontiers. I don't know if that's going to end up being relevant.
No.
Let's brings that up.
Let's be clear. It doesn't matter whenever any of this stuff happens, because it happens whenever you feel like it happens, because there's not a meaningful timeline to this stuff. Like, if you're looking for characterization to exist across time and games, and get mad that, like, oh, but in this game, he doesn't act like this. Guess what? It's because nobody cares that's making them. It does not actually matter.
Well, officially, everything in IDW still takes place before Frontiers. And so, until that's no longer the case, I will bring that up when Tails is scared.
And that has that has no meaningful value at all whatsoever.
We will see once if IDW moves beyond Frontiers. But basically, the Chaotix and Tails, they capture a bunch of children. They find their massive candy stash. And, like, I don't know, like, the kids eventually learn their lesson, and they, at the end of the story, they are giving the candy out to all the children that they stole from, and turns out, hey, there's enough candy left that we can all have some, and so, you know, Charmy ends up not having to sacrifice anything, and, so, yeah, like, I don't know, I just found it to be kind of boring. Like,
it's just okay. It's just a little cutesy comic.
Like, yeah, it like as a little kids comic, it's fine, but I do expect at least a little more from my IDW Sonic. Not like, you know,
not when it comes to specials anymore. After 2 specials of there being nothing special about the specials, I'm not expecting anything much from them.
But the final special left is Winter Jam. So
I will say it's interesting that because there was 2 Sonic comics that week, and both of them were chaotic centered, where they both had the chaotic in the front.
I wonder when this takes place in relation to the other one. But yeah, so I am kind of hoping that, I don't know, Eggman gets up to some sort of Eggman-ish digs in the Holiday Jam. I don't want another thing where it's just or it's just a sweet little holiday story where they're, I don't know, like, there are ways you can do a holiday story. I just hope they don't do it like this. So Shigs, you have anything else to say about the Halloween special?
No, not really. It's pretty much everything you said covered. It's just a little so special.
And GX never read it.
What they call throwaway.
No, I did not. I did not have time to do so.
So that leads us to our final Sonic hacking contest, to our final discussion, Sonic hacking contest, which in this case it's just me and GX, because Shigs, you didn't have time this year.
No.
So like, they did release their rewards earlier today. Now, GX, do you have any idea? Could you summarize some of the highlights for us? I know you were working on a story.
Yeah. So, hey,
I can if you can't.
No, the major takeaways are, hey, the ones that you think were going to do very well did very well. Hellfire Saga, Sonic Mega Mix Mania, and probably the most dark horse is Crazy Sonic Super Ultra. Crazy Sonic Super Ultra. I misspelled this on this thing. It doesn't matter. It's just called Crazy Sonic. Just call it Crazy Sonic. Seemed to get a lot of the LOL type awards. Sonic Essence
It really makes me want to get to actually playing it.
I completed it earlier today. I in full on stream. So it's a thing. It's a thing that you could play, and it's odd, but go for it. Sonic Essence, the first Splash demo, did pretty well.
I'm not surprised by that. That was a pretty good hack.
And of course, like Sonic Adventure DX multiplayer, Dungeons of Soliana, Agent Stone in Sonic 3 AR, Mighty Ray and Amy in Sonic 3 AR, Knuckles Clackers, Roller the Badnik. These are all ones that did, pretty well.
Well, that does not surprise me.
Yeah,
those were all ones I had a lot of fun with.
Indeed, and like realistically, the ones that are up top definitely feel like the ones where a very good chunk of effort was put into developing original gameplay experiences.
Like Hellfire Saga simply was just like the best retro experience this year. It was the full game. It was a very original game that does a lot to the Sonic 3 and Knuckles ROM. Like lots of original gameplay elements, bosses, completely original level design. Like you certainly do see the skeletons of the levels pop up. Like the second set of levels that is very centered on Hydro City. But it really does just kind of feel almost like its own game, which to me that's like some of the best retro hacks are hacks like that. So I'm not all surprised that it just got the best boss design, best retro game, best graphics in the retro category. Like, just all of that stuff is just like, yeah, I mean, obviously.
Now, I haven't played. I'm in an interesting position where I have not played Sonic. The other one, Sonic something Mania, Sonic Mega Mix Mania. I have not played Sonic Mega Mix Mania yet, nor have I actually played the original fan game that it is based off of. Like, how would you walk me through Sonic Mega Mix Mania? What would I expect?
It's been a long time since I played that, but like, I don't know. I guess I would say, expect just kind of level design that kind of iterates and I would argue improves over the old Sonic formula. Like,
well, I get, but as a piece of content, what can I expect from it?
I don't know, a really good Sonic retro Sonic fan game, I guess. Like one that does just feel like its own experience, not just a not necessarily a hacked game.
Okay.
Like I didn't know much about hacking back then, but to me, it just felt like its own Sonic fan game.
But I mean, tell me about you played the mod. Tell me about the mod.
Oh, okay. Well, the mod, the new mod, it has it of course has the entire original game in it, which I played a little bit of. It holds up, but then has just a completely reimagined version of that game, and just like that game, the level design does for the most part flow very well. The different characters that you can play all have these cool, unique moves and mechanics that set them apart and feel very natural within the frame of Sonic. My only real issue is that so the second level is very water level focused, and there's a lot of there's more puzzle solving, more switches, and for the most part that is done very well. It is rare for me to enter a Sonic game with a lot of puzzle solving mechanics and actually having fun with it. But this game does do that very well. The puzzles do, for the most part, feel pretty well designed. Aside from one, where, I don't know, things just didn't feel like they were quite conveyed properly. I was stuck on this on the stream for like, I don't know, 10 minutes or something, or I don't know, for a bit.
Just knowing when you could use a double jump and in what ways.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was the issue. I did not know I could not double jump off of a swing, and that just completely, like, I broke the puzzle for me. Then you finally, you pointed that out, and like, oh, okay, and then I solved it, no problem. But like, yeah, like aside from some very minor hiccups, it is a very good Sonic experience.
Gotcha.
Now I didn't get much further. I didn't get any further than I did on stream, though. So, like, that's about as much as I can talk about. I guess the first few levels.
Gotcha. What else has stuck out to you in this one? Because I know there was a Knuckles Chaotix one, which I guess specifically speaks to you.
So there were 3 32X hacks, and the Knuckles Chaotix was the only one that's actually entered in the contest proper. And like, yeah, like their main goal was to like populate the level more with enemies and rings and stuff to do and stuff. And like as someone who's just a fan of vanilla Knuckles Chaotix most of the time, I do think that the level does get right what the things that you should get right when you're trying to make Knuckles Chaotix good. Like, it's very focused on physics, very focused on vertical movement and speed, and like the 2 levels I was able to play, I found to be fairly fun. Nothing that was necessarily mind blowing though, but it felt like something that's a good base for like, a larger project. Because I don't remember Techno Tower being one of the levels that I had issues with in that original game. Like, but I am keenly interested in seeing how they like changed the levels to changed the design of some of the bad levels, like the clock level, to like add more of a flow to it and like, improving the placement of enemies and rings and such. So in addition to that, we also had Bad Apple, which was which was like this thing that took this, I guess, song called Bad Apple from this thing called.
Yeah, it's a okay, look, I'm not explaining I've said to you multiple times on stream, I'm not explaining Toho in a public manner. The basic idea is basically, there exists this rather infamous animation that is sort of enjoyed by weebs for its fluidity. And
oh, I thought it was like based off a Japanese shooter that's been going since the 90s.
It is also based on that, but it is from that.
All right.
Look, so it goes several layers deep.
It is an ancient internet animation and is also a shooter game.
Yeah, sure.
But anyway, so it takes a song called Bad Apple, takes these visuals that and like it just places them over some Sonic 1 gameplay, and it is just a really cool tech demo because it's like the visuals like that utilizes this, like the black, it uses like I think black for the characters or something. I don't know, like it uses the gameplay either to fill in characters or the characters are black, and the animation that does is really cool. It like takes this song.
It's a silhouette.
Vocals.
It's an animated silhouette that runs, and it runs over top of the actual gameplay itself. And if you think about like, hey, the 32X as it is designed is built around layering. Like it literally has 2 video outputs. Like you have to connect one video output to the other video output to make it work properly. And from there, it plays
and
with
the
that
audio
concept.
Is also very impressive for a cartridge, albeit still not great, but it's impressive for what it is. And the final thing is just like Sonic 1 in space, where like you can change a background layer to be like one of 3 different space pictures, which it's just a cool piece of tech. So yeah, I do hope we get more 32X hacks in the future, because that is a piece of hardware that I'd love to see exploited more by coders.
Well, there was the very similar one where someone took a series of space raster images and basically played with the what would you call the transparency palette color.
Yeah.
And effectively, like, hey, could you make the sky this color? Could you make the ocean this texture? Like, just ways that you could show the texture within the existing, like, design space.
Yeah. So some other cool retro hacks. Sonic Freefall. This is one that you've played.
Yeah, I have played Sonic Freefall. Sonic Freefall was an expo entry by, and I want to make sure I get the name right. Is it an expo entry? No, I'm not sure.
I thought it was a contest entry.
Maybe it's a contest entry. I don't know. I do not recall. Sonic Freefall was submitted by the Invisible Sun. Invisible Sun usually makes a lot of weird takes on the classic Sonic style of gameplay, usually Sonic 1. Prior years, I really enjoyed the ways that their entries played with palettes, the way that they played with, like, water dynamics in Labyrinth Zone. And this year was basically, hey, Sonic's continuously falling, go grab a bunch of rings. And it's simple, and it's weird, and it's, a little bit awkward to control at times. But apparently, but it's just, it's a fun little, weird little mini game. And you go through several zones just trying to collect a set number of rings. It plays a lot like, hey, a special stage type gameplay.
I thought it looked like a fun little mini game.
Yeah, I don't think there's much to say about it compared to, like, some of the other stuff that that they've submitted in the past, but it's kind of neat.
He apparently, like, had a much more advanced build that just got completely deleted.
Yeah, something like that.
So
chat us up in the Discord.
Another game that you played, Crazy Sonic, which I have not been able to play yet.
Yeah, in fact, give me a sec.
Crazy Sonic Super Ultra Cool Bodacious Radical Mega CD Remastered Edition.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna put this off a little bit. Can you take one more, because I'm about to publish an article.
Oh, okay, sure. All right. So I played Brutal Sonic, another retro entry, which is, as it says, brutal. It kind of like redesigns Sonic to be much more difficult, and it also adds blood. And if Sonic dies, he like explodes into blood. And apparently, like, the blood spikes are taken from like Mortal Kombat. But, like, as edgy as that premise sounds, I actually did have a lot of fun with it. This isn't really like your typical Kaizo thing. The difficulty does feel fair for the most part. So as they say in their description, it's difficult and violent hack that manages to not be total BS. So there are brand new levels and entirely custom bosses. Man, I'm trying to remember what I played of that game. And right, yeah. So it utilizes it adds the drop dash, and the very first boss of the game is built specifically around utilizing the drop dash, which is really cool because it is like the first thing I've played in Sonic that really feels like, yes, this was built for this mechanic specifically. So, like, Dr. Robotnik, he is just floating up in the air. He's trying to hit you with his ball, and you you need to like drop down. You don't have enough room on screen to, and the only way you can hit them is you have to run up a hill and then jump off it to hit them. But there's not enough room to actually get the momentum to do it, and so you can just drop dash, go up there, and they can like smack into them, and like I don't know, it's just really cool. And I really do. It is one of those hacks that I really do want to revisit at some point. GX, you available yet?
Give me like one more game, and then I'll have a few for you.
All right. Okay. Let's see.
Did you have a chance to play Sonic Unleashed Reimagined?
Yes, I did, and like they added a bunch of new characters. We got Metal Sonic now. We've got, I forget if Shadow's always been there. Like I don't know. I don't keep up with the stuff enough to like remember everything that they did, but they like add a bunch of new levels and bosses and a bunch of new levels and level themes and stuff. Like there's a version of Empire City now that is themed to look more like New York City. Although I think really just kind of changed the color of the sky, I guess. But yeah, like if you're gonna play Sonic Unleashed on PC, it does feel like a pretty solid way to do that. Still,
you know what else you could play on You know what else you could play on PC?
Basically everything that we're talking about.
Well, yeah, everything that we're talking about. You and I both spent time with Agent Stone in Sonic 3 AIR.
Yes, we did.
The second year, I believe it was featured in the contest.
Yeah, we at least we first tried it last year.
Yeah, last year last year it was effectively, I believe, just one additional boss fight. It was Knuckles in Launch Base Zone, Act 1. In this version, my understanding is that every mid-boss has been graphically modified, and that 5 mid-bosses have had additional gameplay added to them, or
5 bosses have been changed significantly. A bunch of them were for Knuckles, which I didn't have time to try, which I didn't have an opportunity to try on stream because I was also trying to play every single character from the Mighty Ray Amy character pack during that. But like, yeah, so so like they like not only do they add Dr. Stone, they reskin all of the mid bosses. They also like significantly like expand on these bosses, and all these bosses have like really fun new additions from what I've played to their standard attack patterns. And the final and like the kind of the big finale of the whole demo is Dr. Eggman and Dr. Stone teaming up on you at the end of Lava Reef for a very different and frankly significantly better and more difficult boss fight. Which I did get stuck on stream, and you decided that you were gonna like show me up, and so you also played it while I was on stream, and you beat it before I could. I just had to give up because I couldn't just keep going at that boss over and over again all night. But like these bosses are all very clever, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what else they add. And this is the thing that's going to get me to like play through all of Sonic 3 in Sonic 3 Air, because I just love seeing Dr. Stone in this game. The new bosses are really well designed. They add a lot to the Sonic 3 experience in my view. And just having Dr. Stone there adds some additional personality to the game, which I appreciate. So, like, yeah, this is definitely one of the more exciting demo projects that we saw this year.
It was. I am curious if it's a 0.8. I'm guessing there is intended to be further updates later to actually reach a full 1.0.
I would assume that the goal is to get to 1.0.
But another sort of similar experience that I had was an Expo entry called, I believe, Eggman's Revenge. I don't remember any of the names at any point. It's
Let's see. Sonic Eggman's Conquest, which makes all the bosses way harder.
yes, Eggman. No, it is Eggman's Revenge.
I'm looking at Sonic. Oh, I guess there's a different one called Sonic Eggman's Conquest then.
I played Sonic Eggman's Conquest or Eggman's Revenge. So, the best way I could kind of describe it is some bosses have new attacks, and I've only made it up through Hydrosity Zone, so I can't speak to the whole game, but it is something that I would definitely like to check out more of them. But effectively,
okay.
it makes them...
This was an expo entry.
Yeah, it makes them much faster and much more difficult. The capsule that, in the very beginning, the one that shoots fire and missiles, actually attempts to shoot fire and missiles at you in ways that, like, you have much smaller windows to dodge. Once you get to the Eggman fight on the bridge in Angel Island, like, it's not that, like, he just shoots fireballs at you, but no, his robot just continuously rushes you, and you need to both dodge fireballs and find openings to hit him. Hydrosity, the mid-boss was just really fast. Like, it was just absurdly fast that it was difficult to dodge, but the end boss of that zone was particularly interesting and weird. Instead of like going through this little pattern of like trying to pull you up, he would just skim the water for the first phase of it, and it would give you a good chance to try to get hits in, but it also means that if you don't jump, you're going to get hit or pulled into the wave. And he skims back and forth a few times. And then the second half of the motion is that he just continuously carpet bombs with bombs. And you can try to either avoid or use them to boost you up, but it's not like this back and forth anymore. It's just... No, it's all one, it's all the other, and in both cases, they're both going very fast. So this is definitely one that I would like to head back to and spend a bit more time with, because it does seem interesting and challenging.
Yeah, look cool from what I saw on your stream.
Do you want to hear about buses?
Yes, I do.
There's probably not that much to say, but I'll do my best. So, Crazy Sonic is a bit of a troll entry this year. It's a Sega CD ROM. Yeah, ROM, I guess, is the right word for it. Where
ISO.
It is... It's not actually an ISO. Well, look, I'm just going to call it ROM, and we're just going to have to be okay with that. Sure.
Okay.
So, what we're looking at here is a troll entry built around a unreleased Venezuelan game called Crazy Bus. And Crazy Bus...
that's what that is.
I mean, I sent you a video of it to vaguely explain.
Oh yeah, I haven't had a chance to look at it.
Yeah, it's kind of an infamous, weird game where all it really is just a series of photos of buses and sprites of the buses that you can pilot back and forth, and for some reason it tracks how much you piloted them back and forth across this static image of the bus. And it's just sort of weird and inexplicable and has bad audio, and of course, though, hey, it was unreleased, so how much can you actually really complain about it? The way that Crazy Sonic decides to interpret this is almost unrelated entirely. It is Sonic 1 from start to finish, and instead of playing Sonic, you play a Sonic-sized school bus. You can move forward You can move backward. When you move backwards, it has backward moving tones to remind you, hey, it's going backwards. It has a horn that you press the horn button and it beeps. And it moves very slowly. Like, it moves very consistently slowly. Like, you don't have momentum, you just have it is moving forward at a consistent rate. Where it gets funny is that because you don't really have momentum per se, you just stick to walls or loops or whatever your floor is as you move at the consistent rate. So, hey, you get to the first loop in Green Hill. Well, this 5 mile an hour bus that you're piloting is just going to 5 mile an hour across the whole loop. There was a point whenever I was in the third stage, the one with the bumpers. Why can't I remember it? My brain's fried from today. Oh, whatever, that one. Where you can just...
Starlight Zone?
No, 2 before Starlight Zone.
Huh. Oh, wait. Dang it. I'm blanking on it, too. Never mind.
That's okay. Starlight is still, like, a good example, but effectively, you could be put in situations where if you drive onto a wall and you're just driving vertically, you could just stop and the bus will stay there. Like, you could just drive on a ceiling and the bus will stay there, moving at its consistent weird pace.
This just does not have Sonic 1 physics, then.
No, it is not interested at all in Sonic 1 physics, except for the jumping mechanic. So you can jump as the bus. In fact, you actually have a really good jump. You have Sonic's normal jump with the bus, but then also you do have access to a double jump, which is incredibly useful considering how fast you normally move. Generally, because you can't move that fast, like, hey, jumping does get you moving, especially when you orient yourself well on the opposite side of a hill, so can be useful that way.
Yeah.
The bus does not drop rings when hit. Instead, the bus has a health bar. But it doesn't just have one health bar, it has 2 health bars. One health bar is your damage, so your bus can only take so many hits before it breaks down. But the other one is your tire pressure. Now, if you run into spikes, be they spikes on the ground, be they various spike balls throughout the game, you will possibly take damage to your tires. And if your tires take damage, your tire pressure will continuously drop over time, with the only recourse being either, losing a life by having complete absolute flat tires, or finding a tire monitor to repair them. So, quite honestly, like, badniks are the least of your worries in this game. It's spikes. Like, spikes are the absolute killer. For most of the game, it's not that difficult. It's just slow. But you can really chew through bosses using the double jump. Like, think of all the bosses in Sonic 1 and how many are reliant on, well, you can't jump high enough to hit this. Well, now you can jump high enough because you got a double jump. You've got a very good double jump. But yeah, it's the hardest point in the game that I found was just Scrap Brain Act 2. Scrap Brain Act 2, because it has all of the conveyor belts, you just can't move on the conveyor belts going the opposite direction. Like, you have to jump to avoid them, and whenever you've got stuff like mashers going over top of them, it means your best bet is to just mash that jump button and hope for the best. Some of the saw blades in it are going to hit your tires, and there's not going to be a good place to heal, so Man, you better avoid paths that have those saw blades.
Huh.
It's fun, it's weird. Like, if you're looking for weird ways to play Sonic 1, it's certainly one of those. It's just understand, like, hey, you're playing a troll game. I think the only other things worth mentioning are, like, there's one item that just strobes the screen bright colors. I think it replaces invincibility. There's another one that they have called LSD mode, which is effectively, I think, replaces the speed shoes, but also it just, like, makes everything weird and wavy, like the touch fuzzy get dizzy level of Yoshi's Island. And there are special stages. The special stages are not like Sonic 1 special stages. You are playing like this really low-rent version of Crazy Taxi, where every next chaos tire that you need to collect, you get by way of adding another person onto the number of passengers that you need to get to earn it. And if you get 7 Chaos Emeralds, or Chaos Tires, you can become a super bus.
Oh my god, that sounds hilarious.
Oh, Lord.
And you did all this in 2 hours today, huh?
I made it in like 90 minutes, I think. Like, I had to go to a second game in order to do it.
What else did you play?
I also played the Eggman's Revenge thing, which I just discussed.
Oh,
so
okay.
There's a little bit of footage of that online.
So I do believe you played Sonic the Hedgehog Save the Moon on stream.
I did, and I remember nothing about it, which is unfortunate because I remember it vaguely being decent. I remember it looking very good.
Yeah, I remember like it had a very unique style to it. Like the colors kind of reminded me of, like, I don't know, a Super Nintendo platformer.
And looking at the screenshots, I remember the first boss being very weird because
there was like a hole
weird way
on each side.
Yeah. Yeah, as I'm looking through this, it's starting to come back to me. Yeah, it feels like a big significant sprite sort of reskinning of like a Sonic 1 type game. There's a lot of work done to the aesthetics of it. You can definitely tell, like, hey, certain inspirations come from certain games. Like, the fourth stage that they have you go through is very inspired by, like, a combination of both Scrapbrain's palette with Metropolis's, like, design aesthetic.
Yeah.
With like some additional computers and stuff that looks interesting. It was good. It was neat. It was fun. It's just a demo right now, so there's still stuff to do, but also I think the part that really I struggled with was the level called Forest Ruins, which was which was like an underwater labyrinth full of mazes and switches.
Level.
Yeah, like it was kind of that issue of, like, hey, not everyone gets those Sonic puzzles right, and this one felt like, you don't really want to do a bunch of puzzles underwater. I get what they were going for. It just it wasn't grabbing me at all.
I do remember having a lot of fun with Pine Fields at the very least, and man, I'm trying to remember if I got to Pinball City, but certainly out of all the retro hacks I played, this was kind of the one that feels like it has the most potential for the future. Even though, like, I am more interested in what Knuckles Clackers does. So, like, here's hoping they keep working, and we get another demo next year, maybe even the finished game.
Do you want to go fast? How fast do you want to go?
I want to go as fast as you do in Sonic Adventure 1.
I have something way faster than this, and it's Sonic Frontiers Mach Speed Physics.
Yes, that is very fast.
Yeah.
Now,
so this is. Go ahead.
Yeah, go on. I do have a question. Does this
sure.
like change how Sonic looks when he's moving at all? Because I feel like Sonic never when I'm moving at top speed and with this hack, Sonic looks like different than he does in the base game.
I can't speak to the animations, but I believe his blur is different. Like he has
Yeah,
this...
the blur is what I'm thinking of. It's like a blue and red streak.
Yeah. And yeah,
really cool.
And effectively, like it's sort of like a physics refinagling of like how physics are interpreted in it. It sort of brings out a couple new moves. It brings out a few more controls. It changes the spin dash a little bit. But ultimately, like, the big thing is it just triples your top speed. Like, it just makes you 3 times as fast. Now, you probably won't notice whenever you first start it up, but a big part of it is having full rings. When you have full rings, it's astounding. It's absurd.
Yeah.
It's just completely insane. There were parts of it where I could just hit a ramp in the first island and reach the invisible wall that the game designers put in to prevent me from going to the other half of the island that is considered the 4th island.
Like, it really does demonstrate why the game plays the way it does, because that's clearly how they designed the world. But it is still wild just being able to cut loose like that in Sonic in the game and just like cross the stage in like minutes.
Yeah, it has a it's basically like, hey, I want to break this game wide open, and you install it and then you break the game wide open because it wasn't designed to have you move like this.
Another Sonic Frontiers demo that we had going.
I was going to say, so you were talking to me about Sonic Adventure.
Yeah, before you guys talk anymore, I mean, I don't really have too much to add to the discussion anymore, and it's getting late for me, so I'm going to bow out now.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you, Jason. Have a good one.
You too. You have a good one.
So I played a bunch of Sonic Adventure hacks on one particular on my
Sonic Adventure was big this year. Sonic Adventure DX got like several hacks, and then there were a couple hacks that specifically aimed to like be Sonic Adventure like.
And they were all and they were all really cool. So the Jet Set Sonic hack. This almost kind of felt like something you might have gotten from Dreamcast DLC. In that, like, okay, so it obviously, like, it reskins Sonic in what I guess is now becoming his iconic Jet Set Radio look. And in addition to that, you can also graffiti Jet Set Radio logos anywhere in Station Square. Well, okay, anywhere on the floor. You can't graffiti the walls, unfortunately. And in City Escape, you can also access a mini game where you have to graffiti a bunch of different. You have to graffiti a bunch of different locations across the level, and you actually like have to graffiti all the locations in a single part of the level before you can move on. And in the first level, some of these are really well hidden, and you have to really know the level to find some of them. It made me like do things I rarely ever do in City Escape, which is like explore it and like check out the towers. There was this area like right before the final part of the first act where I have never been to before, and it's like specifically just there to catch you if you fall off a specific piece of road near the end. And so, like, yeah, it's fun. It was cool, you know, exploring the level like that. And it was like the best part of the demo was when I had to do that in the final part of City Escape, because that area is more open and more able to be explored. And so, like, yeah, it added a nice new twist to that game in addition to giving you a cool new skin.
Cool. And
in addition to that,
when you say City Escape, he means Speed Highway.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I get my Sonic Adventure City levels mixed up sometimes.
Yeah. Just wanted to clarify so people don't think that this is a Sonic Adventure 2 mod.
Yeah. So the another character mod I got to play was Klonoa, and that just completely replaces Sonic with Klonoa's moveset, Klonoa's speed, and he can even pick up enemies and throw them at other enemies, or use them to do like a high jump. And like in certain levels from like Emerald Coast, that isn't all that useful, but it's still fun to do. But then like it can completely change how you play some other levels, like Twinkle Park. Like Twinkle Park, like I was just able to effortlessly get through the latter half of that level because I could just like use him to just scale the castle and get to the end. And it's just it just adds a fun twist to this really old game. And finally, we have the out of the trio of really good Sonic Adventure hacks, we have the Spyro Triple Pack, which adds three new levels, which basically imports 3 Spyro levels into Sonic Adventure, and each character has their own missions in each level. Like they have their own gameplay, their own thing to do. Knuckles can, of course, just explore the level to get Master Emerald pieces. Amy Rose, she has like the most platformer centric gameplay because
that's surprising because she is the least platformer friendly character.
She has a whole she has a whole level basically built with her in mind, and that was the level I played. I ended up playing on stream, and it actually worked really well for her. I was surprised. Like it was interesting playing as Amy in a platforming level, having like everything be pretty functional. And like Tails, his whole deal is instead of racing Sonic, he explores the levels and he has to free all the dragons.
Okay.
And Sonic kind of has the least suited gameplay for this because, the Spyro levels, they are very explorer-centric. It works with Amy because she is not as fast as Sonic, and so, like, she's able to move through the levels like a regular platformer character. Whereas like her whole deal is she has to get to a balloon in the stage. But Sonic, as I understand it, like he basically like you can just like go straight to the level's end point with him. It's like with one of the levels I played with him, it was just like right there. It took me like 30 seconds to get to it. But like apparently there are like things to do in the level to earn emblems, and I never uncovered how to do that. Something I did with the mod kind of broke all the in-game text, and so I couldn't find out what Sonic's missions were. But regardless, this is a really cool addition to Sonic Adventure. It is one I recommend people check out if they just want more Sonic Adventure. It worked better than I was expecting, frankly.
Do you have another one you specifically want to talk about, or are you okay taking a request?
I'm okay taking a request until I'm ready to move on to the like a couple 2D PC games. Yeah.
Okay, because I want to hear more about Sonic Essence.
Okay, so Sonic Essence. Honestly, it's not really a hack so much as it's like
an original
new game built in the Sonic Retro engine. And it's kind of interesting in that it's trying to be a classic Sonic game, but it's also bring in a lot of like modern Sonic elements. And so Sonic moves faster. Sonic has like a jump boost that like sends him forward, kind of like a homing attack, but doesn't home in on anything. And the like I don't know, man, I'm trying to remember what else it did. Well, regardless, like in terms of its setting and its story, it's basically a sequel to Sonic Unleashed.
But in 2D.
Yeah, but in 2D.
Like
Oh yeah. There's also a like speed dash that you can use for certain shortcuts, and the badniks are based off of Sonic Unleashed.
Yeah, to me, like there's something fascinating about the idea of the 2D Sonic Unleashed, if only because we got the weird Gameloft mobile platformer that has its like own original sprites and level design and everything. But this feels like, hey, the natural movement towards making that an actual real game with actual real design.
Oh yeah, there's also a really good wall jump. Honestly, like it's almost a little too good because Sonic will like cling to any flat surface, and sometimes I'm just like trying to platform, and I accidentally like stick myself to the wall. But like I definitely prefer Sonic being super sticky because that just makes the wall jump really fun to use. But in addition to all that, like the level design, it's just fun. The level design is fun, and the final level even kind of introduces this new mechanic where there's lightning and there's these warning indicators telling you, hey, this is gonna be hit with lightning, and gives you an opportunity to avoid it in most cases. And so if you're just looking for like a fun 2D Sonic experience, like this is definitely one to check out. It's only like 3 levels long. It's pretty short. Took me like 10 minutes to beat the first time. But it is definitely another project to keep an eye on. Cool. So, moving on to Treetops Sonic Frontiers. So that was like we actually got 2 like Spyro centered Sonic.
Yes, big Spyro energy this year.
Which I don't know like why that happened, but every year like there just seems to be like a trend with the hacks, and so it takes this one level from Spyro and turns it into a Sonic Frontiers hub world, and you can explore it, you can fight some enemies, but the main goal is to just hit 3 switches and gain access to the cyberspace stages, which are more Spyro levels, and like you explore them, you can do some things. I don't think there was like any concrete goals in them beyond like collectibles. I know I'm the only one who even managed to get to the cyberspace stages.
Yeah, it was kind of weird trying to navigate around the island because they build it on this sort of method of ramping where once you ramp, it immediately like gives you a certain type of trajectory and puts you into trick mode immediately. And you do that by just ramping off of anything that sort of looks like a ramp in the environment. Like, hey, here's this thing that absolutely looks like a ramp that Spyro would have used as a ramp in the main game. But then also things like, oh, there's this jagged piece of tree over here that I would need to use as a ramp. Or, hey, there's, I don't know, a rooftop that I would need to use as a ramp.
Apparently you can actually switch between the visuals between like PSX and Reignited. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it wasn't something that I had a lot of time to to just mess with.
Like we didn't have time to dive too deeply into it, but like I don't know, like it's at least an interesting mod.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing that shows like, hey, you could take the mechanics of Sonic Frontiers and put them into a more structured game with more structured world design.
All right. So, are there any other games that you specifically want to talk about?
Me specifically. I'm scrolling through real quick to see if there's anything that like I feel strongly about. I played Roller the Badnik in Sonic 3 AIR. It's
yeah.
It's
that was funny.
Yeah, it's like Snulf. So if you remember what Snulf was, it's like Snulf. I played Silver Sonic, the Crystal Islands. It's fine. It's level design gets weird in it. It's one of those Kaizo games, except it's a Kaizo game with a slightly easier mode.
So to be clear, Roller the Badnik is a thing where
Yeah.
It's like 2D golf where you're a Badnik who is a ball and you get sent around on the stage like a golf ball.
Exactly. If you could, I did not touch any of the Sonic 06 stuff at all. Were you able to get?
I couldn't get it working.
Dang.
So like I tried accessing the Soliana Dungeons of Soliana, and I just got a black screen no matter what I did. I don't know. The Sonic 06 modding thing is weird. Like I can't get my completed save file to be recognized, and it seems to be a crapshoot whether or not I can get a mod to work. I don't know. Like I think for me, all I've really got left is that I was able to get working is a couple of air mods. So like I touched on this briefly, but I did play the Mighty Rain Amy character slot mod, and these are really fun additions. And Amy has actually a really unique moveset. Like she doesn't have a double jump. She has like man, what was her power?
She has like this hammer tornado thing where she can just sort of hover.
Yeah, and your hammer spin gives you more range and can deflect projectiles. Oh yeah, your hammer allows you to bounce, which gives her a very different feel from her other from the other games from her official appearances. And I guess Mighty Rain do more or less play like their Sonic Mania counterparts, except they can like cling to walls. But what I guess love most about them is just they work great with other mods, and so like you can just add them to the larger Sonic 3 Air experience. And finally, I guess, is Sonic 3 Air Visions and Dreams, which is a game I just picked because I wanted to make sure I had something to fill time. And it's like based off of this Deltarune sequel audio play thing. So I don't know anything about it, but like I don't know, the bosses are kind of like this bullet hell type thing, where Sonic has a shield that can deflect certain objects, and the enemies like have life bars. The bosses have life bars, and like they're full of character. Like the animations and visuals of it are very cool.
It's very technically impressive to sort of just be able to build all that on top of Sonic 3 AIR completely.
Yeah.
Like it's borderline unrecognizable from its original engine.
Like even if you don't know anything about Deltarune, I do think it's just a mod that you should check out. Like so long as you like bosses. And the thought of a Sonic bullet hell type thing doesn't put you off.
Yeah, it looked very challenging.
So yeah, like I guess that's about it. I was surprised by the lack of 3D entries this year for Sonic Hacking content.
Yeah, I was expecting. I think the part that's real rough is because I was really hoping that Origins would really spark a wave of like modding, but I guess because of the way that it can't handle actual scripting, that kind of put a damper on it. But then I was also hoping like stuff like Sonic Colors Ultimate hitting Steam would have helped that as well, and it didn't seem to really pay it much mind. Even stuff like it feels like Generations is slowing down a bit.
Generations got one mod and it looked really cool, but I couldn't get it to work properly.
And Generations was like the
Sonic
baseline.
Adventure.
Yeah, people were like I was shocked that there were so many things for Sonic Adventure DX and almost nothing for Generations. I'm hoping by this time next year that there's going to be a really healthy scene for Sonic Superstars. I think.
Yeah, like I do hope that we get just like more level hacks for stuff like Sonic Generations, Sonic Superstars, Sonic Frontiers. Like I feel like Sonic Generations, like the previous years, some of my favorite Sonic hacking contest hacks were Sonic Generations levels, and I'm kind of surprised we didn't really get that this year outside of the Sonic Adventure Emerald Coast port that didn't really work for me. But I am hoping that just next year we just get more level hacks for all of those games. And finally, one hack that I really missed this year was Dash Adventure 2. Because, I don't know, like, I'm surprised that we didn't have any Sonic Adventure 2 hacks in the contest. Like, there were some in the Expo, but, nothing that I really wanted to showcase on stream. And so, like, I'm really hoping that Dash Adventure 2 isn't dead. I hope it comes back next year. I should probably see if maybe they just didn't make an entry for some reason. But, yeah, like... it's kind of surprising to me some of the games we didn't get.
Yeah, even Frontiers stuff. We didn't get all that much in Frontiers, and what we did get though were some pretty strong proof of concepts of things that you could do in Frontiers. Things like, hey, replace a whole map with a new different map.
Now, I think part of the issue is that some of the really cool hacks we've gotten just weren't entered into the contest for some reason. Like, Tracker. He made this entirely new hack for Sonic Advance 2 called Sonic Advance 2 SP that I showcased briefly on stream ahead of my first proper Sonic hacking contest stream that, like, significantly alters the levels, significantly alters how the rings you gather to get the emeralds work. And just kind of makes it a much better experience. And like, I was shocked he didn't enter it. And like, so that like, I don't know, that's a hack I'll check out on more in my own time, I guess.
Yeah, I'm looking at Game Banana right now, and someone made a Windmill Isle for Sonic Frontiers. It brings Windmill Island Act 1 into it that you can move in that general area. I'm just looking at different possible location stuff, but also like, hey, even outside of the Sonic hacking contest itself, like modding communities are still trucking along and still making things. It's just I'm guessing then I don't know, maybe next year we'll see the culmination of a few more things that
I'm hoping next year, one, Generations will recover, and two, Frontiers modding will hopefully have matured a little more.
Yeah, well, I mean, it looks like you can now play as Tails Doll, so we're getting there.
In Sonic Frontiers?
In Sonic Frontiers.
Huh, neat.
So,
okay, well, yeah. I think that's all the hacks we really want to talk about. So I'm looking forward to next year as always. And thanks for helping me out with those strings. Giving Sonic Stadium some time on Sonic Hacking Contest's official streaming schedule.
But yeah, it's you know what I'm looking forward to most?
Nothing?
Quiet November, please.
What if Sega releases Sonic Prime? We get the Knuckles series, and we also get the new mobile game that's been long rumored. Wouldn't that be cool to all get in a single month?
No, it wouldn't.
Wouldn't that just break you?
I'm tired, man. I'm currently trying to get things together for Sega Sonic Radio. I've made the most progress in this weekend than I've made in a long time.
I really hope you bring that back next month or soon. Like, we are approaching a year, man, since you decided to go on that 1 month break.
Yeah, it's coming down to like I may just say 2023 is a wash and it'll come back at the beginning of next year, but I don't know offhand.
We need holiday episodes.
Well, maybe you'll get a holiday episode next year.
It'd be like, this is the holiday special. 2023. This will be our one episode. I don't know. But I do hope you don't. I do hope we get you back in November. Now, the good news for me is that I can technically now stream both when both when I'm at my house and when I have to go up to my parents for whatever reason, which would make just scheduling streams a little easier for me because they have Starlink now, and I did stream tests on there, and wow, like I hate Elon Musk, but Starlink is impressive.
Yeah, you may have better internet up there than you do over here now, quite honestly.
Hey, I only had one stream crash, and it didn't even actually crash. I guess I don't know, like, it sorted itself out eventually. My other streams went great. Like, I have, 4 streams this year, and only one had any issues? That's not too bad. So, you'll be able to catch our streams at Twitch, and also over at our YouTube. And I am also attempting to put together some articles, some roundup articles, just covering a bunch of Sonic hacking contest hacks. I don't know what you might have planned, GX, but I'm hoping you might be able to write a couple paragraphs for these.
I have sleep planned right now.
Yeah, obviously, I'm thinking like tomorrow, but like, yeah.
I have sleep planned right now.
But we hopefully, God willing, nothing gets in the way, and I'm able to get some articles up. And we'll have some Sonic hacking contest content on our YouTube and on our website. So stay tuned for all that.
Sounds good. And any articles that you want to point people to?
Well, you posted a pretty comprehensive article about the Sonic hacking contest award. So if you want just a good long look at that, you can look at that.
You can look at the awards, but also it contains links to all the entries in the awards. Took me a long time because they have a lot of awards.
Yes, they do. I kind of wish they'd, I don't know, just release it on their website or something. So I know you've heard from us a lot this month, but well, God willing, November's quiet. We'll be back on the final Sunday of that month, or I don't know, maybe...
IDW's Thanksgiving special.
Yeah, we will be covering at least 2 IDW comics, 65 and 66. And I don't know. It depends on how things go with Thanksgiving. I don't know, like, how that will affect our scheduling.
I'm going to sleep. Yes. I don't know if I've mentioned this yet.
Yes, I know you're going to bed as soon as we hang up. So see you. So goodbye. Sonic Talk signing off, or whatever.
Peace all, everyone. Give me a sec. Need to find where I put